We all have those moments where we find ourselves staring into the emptiness left behind, desperately trying to piece together what went wrong. We replayed the memories like a favorite film, clinging to the promises whispered in moments of vulnerability, and we construct an entire future in our minds that now feels stolen. In this painful haze, we become convinced that a single different choice, a different word, or a different day could have changed everything, securing the love and peace we believed were within our grasp. This is the natural human response too. Lost to romanticize what was and yearn for what could have been. But this perspective is built on a fragile foundation, one that often ignores a deeper, more difficult truth. The person you wanted so badly was, in many ways, a creation of your own mind, built not on the solid ground of reality, but on the shifting sands of hope, desire, and projection. You saw what you desperately wanted to see. You focused on her beauty, the sound of her laughter, the way she made you feel in a single perfect moment. You saw her potential, the person you believed she could become if only she had your love and support. You held on to the highlights and downplayed the red flags, convincing yourself that the bad days were just exceptions to the rule. This is the illusion. It's a powerful and seductive mirage that our hearts construct to protect us from the more painful truth of incompatibility or misalignment. We fall in love with the idea of a person, with the future we could build with them, rather than with the complex, flawed individual standing before us. But God, who sees with perfect clarity beyond every mask and behind every carefully crafted word, saw the unvarnished reality. While you were captivated by her charm, he saw her character. While you were moved by her promises, he saw her intentions. While you were soothed by her calm surface, he saw the storms brewing in the depths of her spirit, the inconsistency, the instability, the emptiness that no amount of external affection could ever truly fill. He saw the betrayal that would have come later, the subtle lies that would have slowly eroded your trust, and the disloyalty that would have drained your spirit dry. He knew with absolute certainty that the love you longed for and believed you were receiving was not the love you would have ultimately lived with. This divine intervention feels like a theft, a cruel punishment designed to keep you from happiness. But in truth, it is the ultimate act of grace. What you wanted was a beautiful, captivating illusion, a masterpiece you painted yourself. What he offers, even in the midst of this pain, is reality. And reality, brother, as harsh as it may seem when compared to the fantasy, is always worth infinitely more. It is the only foundation upon which a true and lasting future can be built. The pain you feel now is the necessary shattering of that illusion, making space for something genuine, something aligned, and something that will not break you. When the door slams shut and the silence floods in, it's our most human instinct to cry out into the void, to demand an answer to the most painful question. Why? Why did you let this happen? Why did you take her from me? We pray, we bargain. We beg for a different outcome, and when the situation remains unchanged, we interpret that silence as a form of divine rejection or indifference. We feel abandoned, as if our deepest desires have been ignored by a universe that is supposed to care. This is the critical crossroads where our perception fails us, because in that heartbreaking silence, we are almost always mistaking God's most profound protection for a form of cruel punishment. We are so focused on the acute pain of the present moment that we cannot possibly see the catastrophic ruin we have been spared from in the future. The painful, liberating truth is that if you had been given exactly what you begged for with every fiber of your being, it would have systematically crushed you. You are a builder, a protector, a man with a purpose. That purpose would have been slowly traded away, piece by piece. As you wasted your vital energy trying to hold together a connection that was fundamentally flawed and never meant to last, you would have spent years playing the role of a mechanic for a broken soul, desperately trying to fix a woman who had no real desire to be fixed, pouring your time, your money, and your emotional reserves into a bottomless well. This isn't love. It's a form of slavery disguised as devotion. It is chaining your identity and your worth to someone who is incapable of honoring the weight of that gift. God, in a mercy that is too vast for our limited understanding to grasp in the moment, saved you from that fate by severing the tie. He wasn't denying you happiness. On the contrary, he was denying you a path that led only to a hollow imitation of happiness, followed by utter destruction of self. He chose for you the sharp, clean pain of a sudden ending over the slow, soul-crushing agony of a lifetime of compromise, anxiety, and disrespect. The devastation you feel now is real and valid, but it is the pain of a surgeon's incision, precise, intentional, and ultimately life-saving. It is far less than the existential devastation of waking up 10 years from now, having lost everything you were ever meant to be, all for the sake of holding on to a person who was never your destiny, but merely your most difficult and important lesson. He loved you too much to give you what you wanted, in the aftermath of a profound connection. It is incredibly difficult to separate the intensity of a feeling from the idea of destiny. We are wired to believe that something that hurts this much must have been meant to last forever, that a bond so powerful couldn't possibly be designed to be temporary. This is where we make a critical error. We confuse poignant timing with permanent destiny. Just because you encountered someone at a moment when you were most open, most vulnerable, or most in need of a specific lesson, does not automatically mean they were meant to be the constant in your life story. The universe, in its intricate design, often sends people into our path not as permanent residents, but as profound visitors with a very specific purpose. Some individuals are not meant to be lifetimes. They are lessons. They're not partners. For the entire journey, they are stepping stones placed carefully to help you cross a river of your own becoming. God, who sees the entire tapestry of your life from start to finish, knows the exact moment a person has fulfilled the role they were sent to play. Her purpose was never to complete you, as if you were somehow unfinished. Her purpose was to challenge you. Her presence was meant to act as a mirror, held up to your life to reveal the weaknesses in your boundaries that needed fortifying, the cracks in your confidence that needed healing, and the seductive illusions you were still willing to settle for in the name of love. She arrived to show you parts of yourself that remained hidden in the comfort of solitude. Her exit is so profoundly painful, precisely because her purpose has been served. The lesson has been delivered. Keeping her in your life beyond this point would be like keeping a student in a single grade forever. It would stunt your growth, trap you in a cycle of repetition, prevent you from moving on to the next, more advanced chapter of your development. It feels like a cruel twist of fate now, a seemingly unnecessary loss after such a powerful connection. But in the grand scheme of your soul's evolution, this is one of the greatest acts of mercy you will ever receive. The closure, even when it feels abrupt and unfair, is a gift. It is the universe forcefully turning the page for you because you, in your attachment to the story, were unable to do it yourself. It is the necessary ending that makes a true beginning possible. The pain you feel is the friction of that page, turning, the sound of a door closing so that another, heavier, more significant one can finally swing open. The classroom has served its purpose. The lesson, though difficult, has been learned. Now you are being prepared to graduate. It is a natural and human reaction to interpret an ending as a failure, a derailment of the life you had meticulously planned. When she walks away, it feels like the future itself has been canceled, a promise broken. But this perspective is a trick of the heartache, a myopia induced by pain. The truth is far more powerful and purposeful. This is not an ending, but a critical redirection. You believed she was your destination, the final piece of your puzzle, but a higher wisdom knew she would have become a detour, a delay, or worse, a derailment from the path you were truly meant to walk. This wasn't a rejection of you. It was a protection of the man you are destined to become. God is not merely protecting you from her from the potential pain, betrayal, or stagnation that relationship might have brought. On a much deeper level, He is protecting you for yourself. He is safeguarding your energy, your focus, your spirit, and your mission from a drain that would have left you empty and unable to fulfill your calling. He knows the weight of the purpose placed on your life, the battles you will need to fight, and the strength you will need to cultivate. A wrong partner, no matter how beautiful the connection felt, could have systematically stripped all of that from you before you ever reached your potential. She would have consumed the very resources, your time, your emotional capital, your creative fire that are meant to be invested in your destiny. Her leaving, Nafor, was not an act of abandonment by the universe. It was an act of profound alignment. It was the universe realigning you with a higher plan, a more authentic purpose, and a far greater love than your current imagination can conceive. You may have wanted a woman who provided beauty, intense passion, and exciting chaos, believing that was what a powerful love felt like. But God, who knows the blueprint of your soul and the requirements of your journey, knows you fundamentally need a partner who offers unwavering loyalty, unshakable stability, deep respect, and most importantly, genuine peace. You needed someone who makes your soul feel steady, not just your heart race. Because she was not aligned with this deeper, it's more essential need, because her presence would have been in conflict with the core of your purpose. The path had to be cleared. Her departure? Was the universe forcefully removing a mismatch to make space for a true counterpart? It was not a verdict on your worth, but an affirmation of your worthiness of something far better. The final and most crucial step in this journey is the shift from grieving to trusting. Healing is not just about the passive passing of time until the pain fades. It is an active process of choosing to believe in a larger plan when your own has fallen apart. It is about trusting, with a faith that feels almost unreasonable, that a wisdom greater than your own desire is at work. You must trust that God sees the entire map of your life while you are staring at a single closed door. You must trust that what is truly and authentically yours, what is woven into the fabric of your destiny, cannot be taken from you by any circumstance. Conversely, what is not yours, no matter how perfectly it seemed to fit or how fiercely you fought for it, will never truly stay. You can bargain, you can beg, you can chase it to the ends of the earth. But if it is not ordained for your journey, it will inevitably unravel. Accepting this fundamental truth is the first breath of real freedom. It allows you to stop mourning a loss and start preparing for a gain. This pain you are enduring is not a waste. It is not a meaningless punishment. It is a master sculptor, carefully carving wisdom, depth, and discernment into your character. It is teaching you the invaluable lesson of guarding your heart, not with walls of bitterness, but with gates of wisdom that only open for those who have proven their worth. It is reminding you to honor your purpose above a person and to protect your peace above a fantasy. Most importantly, this experience is reminding you that no woman, no matter how captivating her beauty or how intoxicating her charm, is worth the catastrophic cost of sacrificing the destiny God has uniquely prepared for you. This is the kind of profound, unshakable knowledge that can only be earned through the fire of heartbreak. And sometimes, this protection is not just one-sided. God, in His infinite wisdom, is also protecting her from a version of you that would have been compromised by the relationship. Perhaps if you had stayed, you would have had to abandon so much of yourself to make it work that you would have eventually grown to resent her. Perhaps she wasn't equipped to love you the way you needed, and staying would have turned your love into something bitter and destructive. This separation is a form of grace for you both, sparing two good people from a future that would have only caused mutual harm. His no to this relationship is, in reality, a deeper, more resonant yes to your future. The woman you thought you wanted was merely a shadow, a preview of a feeling. The one he has for you is the substance, the real, lasting, and aligned embodiment of that feeling. Till your paths cross, you are not waiting in emptiness. You are being actively shaped, refined, and prepared to be the man who is ready to receive her. Trust the process. Trust the protection. One day, you will look back at the person you begged God to keep, and you will, with a heart full of gratitude, thank Him for saying no.